My designer selected from the What Was Good Design exhibition is George Nelson. Nelson was born in 1808 in Hartford, Connecticut. George Nelson joined Yale University in 1924 with a degree in architecture and also with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Although he became one of the pioneers in modern design, George Nelson did not know what he wanted to do. A quote from one mid-century article says, "But one day, finding shelter in the university from a sudden storm, he found himself in the Faculty of Architecture. There, a student presentation of tempera and watercolor rendering called A Cemetery Gateway was taking place. He was so amazed of what he had just seen that he has decided with no hesitation that he would become an architect. They were the most extinguishingly beautiful and exciting things I had never seen in my life. I fell in love instantly with the whole business of creating design for cemetery gateways. This was when, without any further question on my part, I had decided I had to become an architect." That was a quote from George Nelson. After graduation from Fine Arts and Architecture in 1928, just before the economic crash in the country, George Nelson entered a competition that won him a 2 years in the American Academy in Rome. There he studied and traveled around Europe, interviewing people that was leading the design industry at the time. He interviewed Le Corbusier, Mia van der Rohe, Otto Gropius, and Giorgio Ponti. After he studied 2 years in Rome, he came back to America and introduced two modern design pioneers in writing of Pencil Point. He had also become as an editorial staff in Architectural Forum, where he had become first associate editor from 1935 to 1943, and later consultant editor in 1944 to 1949. Around in 1944, a programmatic article called Tomorrow's House he had wrote an interesting concept of what was used room in the household or living room. He had an innovative idea of storage wall. The Tomorrow's House was so successful that it had become a best-selling in that period. In the same period of the success of Tomorrow's House, one of the leading design company called Herman Miller was looking for a new chief designer by the founder of the company, D.J. Dupree. He was looking for someone that was capable of leading the company to a new high standards and lead for a creative and innovative design. The Nelson made many designs that was iconic even as today. One of the quotes says that what his milestone from the company was. Through 25 years, George Nelson designed for Herman Miller some of the milestones of the mid-century modern furniture, like a marshmallow sofa, the sledge bench, the precursor of the contemporary L-shaped office desk, the CSS, the swagged leg chair, and the sling sofa. There showed no complex design but modern design of simple and modern design that catches people's eyes. The furniture is practical and can be seen was a high standard even as today. My selected design from What Was Good Design exhibition was Nelson's mobile table. The mobile table was one of the remarkable designs that was simple and modern during his career in Herman Miller. Like the coconut chair, the design was only necessary with minimalistic use on the practical side. What Was Good Design exhibition followed 10 principles of Dieter Rams, the perfect design. Of those 10 principles, I have chosen 5 to talk about. The design is very innovative. The lack of time the furniture has a sense of beyond the time that has been used. The piece is still being used today, like every other furniture shows how much the design was ahead of its time. The furniture was very practical. The usage of the design didn't restrict anything that could have sacrificed because of the design. Instead, the design was one of the practicality because the design. It was functional, like Because of the design, it was functioning like it was one. It was simple to understand. It wasn't very complicated to the point. The only good thing about the design was the design itself. Nelson's work has been considered in many of these principles that has ensured that it was a great understanding between his design and the people. If you can see the design, the value of the design has a direct connection of the modern design of this world. It has shown by honest test in time. Many of the design can't compare to most great design like this. I have learned that the design that was put through the exhibition wasn't just about show. It was showing the revolution that the design had into this world. By researching and knowing George Nelson's work, I have understood the fundamentals of design's keys, and well, the design doesn't have to be expressive and complex. Thank you.